Update. Am I the a-hole for wanting to bring my boyfriend to my family's Christmas celebration? Original post. I, female 23, have been dating my boyfriend, male 28, for 4 months, and I am totally smitten. He's the sweetest, smartest, kindest, most caring guy I've ever met, and I feel so lucky to have found him. We met at the start of the new semester at our university. He's a graduate student and was running a tutoring group I joined, and now I'm a senior getting my bachelor's. We hit it off immediately and found that we had a ton in common, including the same hometown. We even went to the same high school, although we never met previously. He graduated a year before I started my freshman year, but he was in the same grade as my sister. I asked if he knew her, and he said yes, that they ran in the same circles, but they hadn't kept in touch since graduation. We spent the last 4 months growing super close, and we were talking about maybe bringing each other to our family holiday celebrations. We didn't get to do Thanksgiving, but we decided to do Christmas together, and I was so excited. I hadn't told my parents or sister I was seeing anyone, so I decided to call and let them know, and also to make sure it wasn't an issue if he came to our Christmas celebration this year. My mom was super excited for me when I told her all about boyfriend, and my dad said he sounded like a nice young man and he would be glad to meet him. I then called my sister and told her the news, and even joked that it would be like a high school reunion for her. She was initially excited to meet a new boyfriend, but when I told her who it was, her mood changed dramatically. She told me she would not be comfortable having a stranger at her family's Christmas and that she was sorry but he couldn't come. I was a bit shocked and asked her to explain, because she is very outgoing and never had a problem with strangers before, and this isn't the first boyfriend one of us brought home for the holidays. I asked if she had not liked him in high school or something, and that's why she didn't want him to come. She said no, and she barely even remembered him. I asked if she would feel better meeting him before Christmas so it's not overwhelming on the actual holiday. She got really firm and told me that she didn't want to meet him before, during, or after Christmas and to just drop it. She then hung up on me. She then texted me a little later that it was rude of me to keep trying to force her to meet someone she doesn't want to, and she hopes I won't bring it up again. This makes no sense, as my sister is not usually like this. I asked my mom about it, but she is just as confused as I am, and said she would talk to her for me. I obviously won't bring my boyfriend if it makes my sister uncomfortable. I just wish she would give me a good reason, especially since she basically said she never wants to meet him. I'm just so confused. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole, but I think there's some reason that your sister doesn't want to see him. I don't believe for a second she doesn't know who he is, but I think you would be the a-hole if you kept pushing. I don't believe her either, and if he did something bad, I would 100% be on her side. I tried to start telling her this on a call, but she told me to drop it and stop bringing it up. Ask your boyfriend then. If him bullying her or doing not nice things to her in high school would have you look at him differently, it's better to get it out of the way now. That way, if there is a reason you wouldn't want to be with him because of who he was in high school, it's 4 months in, instead of after he proposes and your sister drops a major bomb on you. There is obviously more. She barely remembers him, but he knew her. They ran in the same circles, and they didn't keep in touch? Yeah, something happened. It could be anything. From something really nasty to she liked him but he asked her best friend out, and the best friend went out with him instead of saying no, or something equally as petty. If she doesn't give an explanation, then she doesn't get a say. But that is a fine line. I understand if it was something traumatizing, it may be hard to talk about. However, no one understands what's going on with her. Your best bet is to ask your boyfriend if he knows why she may be this upset about him. Then you decide on what you want to do depending on his answer. This has super strong vibes of that other post, where someone was dating their sibling's bully and then got angry when they didn't want them in their home. Just because he's good to you doesn't mean he's good to everyone else. I do believe your sister owes you an explanation though. No a-holes here. I really hope this isn't the case. My sister never mentioned anything about being bullied in high school. But to be fair, we weren't very close back then because I was in elementary/middle school and she thought I was annoying, lol. If it turned out he bullied her, I would not continue dating him. I can't imagine him doing that as he's very kind-mannered. But I do understand people aren't always what they seem. My sister would need to express this to me though. Now for the first update. I talked to my boyfriend last night and he also seemed confused. I asked him to please be honest with me and to let me know if anything went on between them beyond just running in the same circles. He told me no, and they had only ever hung out in groups. She was really more a friend of a friend. And he had a long-term girlfriend he was committed to throughout high school, so he didn't even hook up with her. She also never bullied him. And from his perspective, he never bullied her. He said they were always friendly/civil, and never so much as got in an argument. He doesn't know what her issue with him is. There's obviously more to this story from my sister's side, so I have to try to speak to her again. Probably in a few days when I go home for the holidays. Second update. So, I got home on Wednesday, went to dinner with my sister, and she was acting as if nothing had happened. Finally, I just brought it up, and she immediately got upset with me. She told me to just leave it alone. I told her that I have very strong feelings for this man, and if she has an issue with him, I would like to know what it is, so I can make an informed decision about my relationship. I wouldn't want to be with someone who had hurt my sister or was a bad person. She told me he never hurt her, he didn't bully her, and she simply didn't want a strange man at her family's Christmas. This just angered me, and I pointed out she's bringing her boyfriend of 7 months. She said it's different because I already met her boyfriend, and I told her technically she's already met mine, and I offered for them to meet before, and she shut me down. The conversation really didn't go anywhere productive, and we both left mad. That night, I ended up messaging my sister's childhood best friend to see if she knew anything about my boyfriend. I played it as, "Did you know my boyfriend in high school?" rather than, "What the heck is my sister's problem?" She confirmed his name and then asked if my sister knew yet. A red flag went up, and I said yes, and she doesn't seem happy. She then asked to call me. A lot of you were right, and it turns out my sister was obsessed with my boyfriend from 7th grade all the way until they graduated and went to college in different states. I asked her if there was more to it than that, because I can't believe my grown sister would act this way over a little crush, and she told me it wasn't a little crush. She was legit in love with him. Since she said in love, I asked if my boyfriend knew or if anything had happened between them, and she said that as far as she knew, he didn't know and they for sure had never hooked up, to my sister's extreme displeasure. So she pined for him for years and was devastated when he started dating one of their other friends freshman year. She would show up to his work with other guys, only go to parties if she knew he was going, hooked up with his best friend to try and make him jealous, and once even tried to break him and his girlfriend up. When my boyfriend and his then-girlfriend did eventually break up senior year, my sister thought it was her big moment, but he never even gave her a second glance. Apparently, she's held a small torch for him all these years still, and her friend says she thinks she would still want to be with him if he would have her, and she's probably just jealous. I am sort of relieved. Some of the comments in my original post had me extra scared for what I was gonna find, but now I'm also angry. She's really going to ice my boyfriend out of our family events over a high school crush that she never even told him about. I do feel for her. It sucks when you really like someone and they don't like you back. But I'm upset she wouldn't just tell me and made it into a bigger deal than it needs to be. I'm going to try to talk to her one more time and let her know I know about her crush. And hopefully we can deal with this like adults. Thank you everyone for all of your comments and support. Wow. I knew it was a crush, but I didn't know it was this bad of a crush. There's a crush, and then there's an unhealthy admiration/obsession with someone. Following him to parties and trying to get a couple to break up is some stalker-type stuff. And sitting on the sidelines hoping to be asked out because you're perfect for each other, only to be annoyed a person you were pining for didn't even know you liked them, is some nice guy/girl stuff. OP's sister is jealous and creepy, and just a plain hypocrite for then inviting her own boyfriend. That wasn't love, that was obsession. She needs to work on herself and let that lingering and healthy attachment go. I do think it's concerning she is behaving like this, and that in the past worked to break your boyfriend and his then-girlfriend's relationship. I'd consider bringing your boyfriend into the know, for him to have full awareness of the situation in case guards needs to be raised in the future. Good luck, OP. I'm definitely going to speak with him too and let him know what the actual issue has been. I agree it wasn't love. I don't believe you can be in love with someone without being actually close with them. It was a high-intensity infatuation, and she may have fallen in love with the idea of my boyfriend she created inside her mind. I'm sure if she can just get past this initial issue she's having, she'll find it's time to let go. So she's upset that she never said anything, and did a few childish things to try and get his attention, and now you are dating him. I would say be careful. I know it sounds silly to you, have things that happened in high school. Judging by her reaction, I don't think she will try anything, but she may start drama. Clearly kinda has already, since she would not flat out tell you the issues. But hopeful thinking. May the holidays be peaceful and drama-free. Thank you. I'm hoping she's just going off that initial high school instinct and will soon see adult reason. Because all of this is just ridiculous at this point. Your sister sounds like a creep. She tried to break him and his girlfriend up? Yikes. It wasn't anything super crazy. From what I was told, just tried to plant some doubt in her friend's head about her relationship with boyfriend. She supposedly didn't make anything up, but was just extra hard on him when talking to his then-girlfriend, in hopes she would end up wanting to leave him. Still wrong obviously, but nothing like actually dangerous or anything. Third update. I appreciate the concern, guys. I have spoken to my mom and let her know what I was told. She's going to be going Christmas shopping with my sister sometime this weekend, so she said she could bring it up to her then as well if I wanted her to. I haven't decided if I should talk to sister first or let mom do it, but either way, my parents know the truth and think sister is being overdramatic. Last story. Am I the a-hole for maybe overreacting? My family consists of me, 28 female, my 2 older sisters, 30s, my brother, 25, my parents, and then my nieces and nephew. My nieces are my one sister's kids, and my 15-year-old nephew, Jack, is my other sister's kid. Jack is being raised by my parents, as his mom is unable to care for him and she was not present in this situation. Anyways, we were all sitting in the living room last night, and my mom was handing out glasses of hot chocolate. She gave them to everyone, and then when it was Jack's turn, she noticed that she didn't have enough. He said it was fine. My dad and brother left to get something from the grocery store, and when they came back, they brought cookies for everyone. They were short one though, and immediately looked at Jack and said, "Sorry buddy, must have miscounted." Jack just shrugged it off. I offered to give him mine, but he said he didn't want it. Then it was time for dinner and everyone went to sit at a table while Jack quickly went to use the washroom. I noticed that there were no empty seats. But before I could say anything, Jack entered the room and my mom said, "I don't think we have any more space on the table. Would you mind eating in the kitchen?" He didn't even reply and went to his room instead. No one really cared. I didn't even blink at him going to bed after not eating all day. I felt really bad though. We didn't have any extra chairs, but I'm sure someone could have thought of something. I would have even given him my own chair. So I made him a plate and then went to go find him. I wouldn't say he was crying, but when I entered, his eyes were red, insanely red, and he looked incredibly sad. He was embarrassed but thanked me for the food. I left so as to not make him uncomfortable, but I was so upset. My nieces left to go do their own thing, and my siblings/parents noticed that I was upset and asked me what was wrong. I just said, "You're all so freaking terrible." They all went silent, but I continued and told them that I don't know if they were mistreating Jack on purpose, but they'd better be ashamed of themselves. They are all upset with me now, and insisted that they really didn't mean to ignore/exclude him and that is unfair for me to say these things. They're saying I ruined the night and I am overreacting, and that if Jack has an issue, he'd say so. The mood is still off, and now I don't know if I'm the a-hole or not, because maybe I shouldn't have said anything considering it's Christmas, and Jack doesn't seem to care. Not the a-hole. Jack is clearly used to being treated like this by his grandparents. He's so nonchalant about it because of that. Hearing about how his mother is unfit to care for Jack, I personally believe his grandparents are taking out their feelings on his mother on him. This isn't fair to him, and they need to be ashamed of themselves. You are absolutely not the a-hole for calling them out on that. They may not be completely aware of it, but now that they are, they need to change, or else that kid may go down the same path as his mom. And Jack most certainly does care, or he wouldn't be crying. And I would guess he has been told directly or indirectly that if he does not tolerate the poor treatment, he will not have a home, or similar. Like he knows to act like it is fine or else. This is horrifying. OP, if you can, maybe you should take custody of your nephew? That is a huge ask, but he is being mistreated with your parents. Your sisters are in their 30s and Jack is 15, so I'm guessing your sister had him in her teens. Is that right? It seems like your parents are expressing their disappointment in your sister on Jack, and it's probably been happening his whole life. I have a large family too. We would never tell someone to eat in another room or forget or miscount. If it was a miscount, why was Jack always the last to be offered a treat? If I were you, I would start getting treats for only you and Jack. Sorry, I guess I miscounted. Not the a-hole. I thought it was weird too that Jack was the one that was always last and forgotten. Plus, was there no way to fix it? Like, could they not make more hot chocolate or split the cookies or something, instead of just making someone go without? And I was appalled when they asked Jack to go eat in another room and on Christmas. Like, it's supposed to be a family dinner. Or are they saying that he is not part of the family? And then they say that if Jack had an issue, he would say so. But would he really? If I was Jack and I had been excluded the entire night, I would probably feel like my family didn't care about me. And I probably wouldn't think they would care if I spoke up and said something. Plus, you wonder if Jack is treated like this a lot. And if he is, then he is probably just used to having to put up with it and not saying anything. Plus, it sounds like Jack was crying in his room alone. So I'm guessing it does bother him and he is upset. And then when Opie says something, the family says that Opie ruined Christmas? It sounds like they ruined Christmas for Jack and they don't care. Like, how would they feel if they were forgotten all night and then told to go eat by themselves? It would probably ruin Christmas for them. Opie, you are definitely not the a-hole. Please keep standing up for Jack. It sounds like he needs someone like you.